everyone. My name is Victoria Greer,
My name is Jalen Shy.
and today we're going to be talking about if explicit music should be protected by the First Amendment. So, music is a form of expression that has existed for thousands of years, but now, well, more recently, within the last century, there's been more music that, kind of goes against the traditions of what people normally would listen to. And especially in this day and age, there's a lot of music that has more raunchy and violent lyrics. So today we're going to be talking about whether those lyrics should be protected by the First Amendment. And we're going to be talking a little bit about censorship. So I kind of want to explain what censorship is, and then Jalen will explain what the First Amendment is. And then we'll get into some of the points that we're going to be talking about. So censorship is the suppression of words, images, or ideas that are deemed quote unquote offensive. And it happens whenever some person succeeds in imposing their personal or political or moral views on others. And so that's just kind of a baseline definition. And now Jalen's going to talk about what the First Amendment is and what it covers.
Okay, so the First Amendment directly from the Constitution is Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise therefore of, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people, peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress or grievances. And essentially what this First Amendment does is that it protects our right, our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, anything. To the government cannot regulate how we express ourselves as citizens. But what tends to happen is, specifically with what we're talking about with music, is that people are now making direct threats and using this artistic expression of sorts to express otherwise illegal activities such as slander, fighting words, or threats.
So today I'm going to be arguing that explicit music should be protected by the First Amendment. And the first point I want to go off of is that in the definition we just announced of censorship, the word offensive is in quotations. And when talking about what should be protected by the First Amendment, censorship obviously plays a role. But my question is, who decides what is offensive? Something that may be offensive to someone may not be offensive to other people. And you might think this is just a question, but this can lead to an abuse of power, and it could lead to people with uncommon opinions being punished for the opinions that they have. That's why I'm kind of concerned, because if explicit music is not protected by the First Amendment, you're going to have people saying, oh, this is offensive, I don't like it. This is offensive, I don't like it. And it's just like, who gets to decide what, is allowed and what isn't? So it's just better I feel like it's better just to make everything allowed, with certain constraints and limits. And then people can decide whether or not they want to tune in or want to partake in this certain piece of media.
They've told jurors is individuals would not necessarily have to know whether materials that they distributed were legally obscene to be convicted, but they would have to know the character of what was sent. And you can find this in the case of Hamlin versus the United States. Sometimes most of the time it depends on the manner in which it was sent. So for instance, there was the case of Jones versus the state, where an ex-husband had written explicit lyrics about hurting his ex-wife, and they used those in the court of law to determine that it was sort of premeditated. He did not end up hurting her, but it's the extent and the intent behind the word.
We only have these conversations when we want to persecute the person that we are persecuting somebody that we don't like. You know, if it's Biggie Smalls, oh, whatever he says is fine. He's the GOAT, he's a G, like whatever you want to believe. But then when it comes to Megan Thee Stallion, when it comes to Cardi B, when it comes to these Black female rappers or Black female artists, everybody wants to say, oh, we need to censor, oh, we need to cancel explicit music. And I think that's not fair, because when it comes to this conversation, it's always Black musicians that are getting attacked. So
one of the biggest issues with explicit music now is that there is a debate of whether can this be used against people? And there have been cases where it has been and cases where it hasn't, and states are really torn between the two, because then it's a question of the very root of one of our first civil liberties, which is free speech. What do you define as I can say whatever I want to say, and to that I say, you can say whatever you want to say, but are you willing to deal with the consequences of what you have to say?
It's not up to the government to decide what your kid can watch and what they can't watch. It's up to you. It's up to the parents to be parents and do what it takes to, you know, make sure their children are seeing what's appropriate to them, whatever they think is appropriate.
When they bring these things to attention, when they openly admit to murder, when they openly admit to date rape, what do we do then? Are you going to do them justice and, you know, not feed into their influence anymore? Or are you going to continue to be ignorant?
I do want to protect the freedom of speech, because, to be honest, the freedom of speech is very rare in the world. And one of the things about our country that is good is that we do have freedom of speech, and I think we should cherish it to the utmost extent. So that's all I have to say. Jalen, if you have anything else to say.
No, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and go for us.
Yes, bye.